Tonight on the Saints game plan.
Yeah, we just ended up being the better team tonight.
You know, you can't be satisfied with this.
1 down, 3 to go on the road to another Super Bowl title. We're in Seattle for a scouting report on the Seahawks.
Saints looked great against Philly in all phases, and so we know that they're at the ready.
And Deuce McAllister is in studio to provide insight on the team's preparations and analysis of the matchup. The Saints game plan starts right now.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is Saints Game Plan. Now, your host, Fred Hickman.
Welcome, everybody. Well, it's almost go time for the Saints as they prepare to play the most important game of the year since last week. A Saturday afternoon rematch with the Seattle Seahawks. A trip to the NFC Championship on the line. The 6th seed visiting the top seed in the NFC, a team which drubbed the Saints 34-7 back in Week 13. But that was then. This is now. The Saints are coming off a terrific wild card win at Philadelphia this past Saturday, and the key is at, as in a playoff win on the road, something the Saints had never done before. It took Drew Brees in one of those patented closing drives. Under 5 minutes to go, down 1, Brees driving, Kyrie Robinson carrying the mail most of the way, steers the Saints within field goal range, and that set it up for the new guy.
Drescher to snap. McCown puts it down. Graham has it on its way. Send us to Seattle, Shane.
For leg 2 of the road to the Super Bowl, the Saints have changed up their travel itinerary. Let's head on out to our Sean Fazan in Seattle for a quick look at the change in plans.
Well, greetings, guys, from Seattle side of the Saints and Seahawks divisional round matchup here in the NFC playoffs. As for the Saints last week, it was green Gatorade, heavy pregame sweats, and of course, Popeye's chicken as motivational tactics for Saints head coach Sean Payton. This week, Payton decided to tweak his travel plans and arrive a day early here in Seattle. The Saints did similar travel plans for New England and Chicago. Those games resulted in a 1-1 record. We will see how well this works for the Saints on Saturday night. Back to you.
So back into the belly of the beast go the Saints. 2 teams which are right at the top of the league in most relevant statistical categories. And now that all the Saints have to worry about is playing their best ball and not having to answer the question from us: why have you struggled on the road?
You know, there was a part of that game where late in the third, fourth, where, you know, Philadelphia came back and answered, and it was important that we were able to do the same thing. So that's kind of really happened. And if you took any road win this year, you go to Chicago and there was a momentum swing. Certainly in Atlanta, we had it early. First series we were out, they scored a touchdown, and we had to overcome that. The same thing would be the case with you know, any of those tough games where you're playing. You hit a back and forth, if you will, and you got to be able to respond.
As good as the win over the Eagles was, it is now in the nostalgia file, so the Seahawks are in front of the Saints, and I'm joined by former Saints running back and Saints legend Deuce McAllister, now a member of the team's Hall of Fame and advisor for the squad. And let's talk about that Philadelphia win and getting that road playoff monkey off their back as they go forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important was just getting some confidence. You know, that's the thing that they needed. They needed some confidence to know that they could go on the road and beat a pretty good team. You know, obviously we know what's at stake now. You know, it's basically winning, you advance. You know, so you're thinking about it. You've played this team. You're familiar with them just because you played them, you know, less than 5 weeks ago. So you understand what you're up against. So the main thing for the squad now is to go out there and execute, you know, and not make the small mistakes that turn into big mistakes, and, you know, just go and have fun.
And when you get to the playoffs, Deuce, there's that pressure, and we exert it in the media, you know, every day, you know, what are you doing, what are you doing? What about Philadelphia? How are you going to win on the road? Sean Payton, I thought, did a masterful job of kind of disarming that with the green Gatorade and the warm-ups and the Popeye's chicken and all that. What do you think about his motivational skills?
Well, he learned from one of the, you know, best as Coach Parcells. You know, being around Coach Parcells and just picking up some of the techniques, some of the things that he used for his guys. You know, it's instrumental not only for that game, but, you know, just in the program overall. You know, how he changed the mindset, you know, when he was doing out in Dallas, you know, and making this franchise one of the quote-unquote top 8 or top 12 elite franchises of the 32, you know. So it's just a mindset from that standpoint. but you're also understanding your team, and to take some of the pressure off of them as far as something as small as chicken or Gatorade or uniforms that you're wearing. He wanted to deflect all the pressure from that and place it somewhere else, and that makes those guys go out there and be relaxed. They're a little more focused. They're having fun.
All right, Deuce. Sit tight if you will, please. Deuce is going to be back in just a moment to talk about the challenge of containing the Seahawks' Russell Wilson, the quarterback, in their offense out in Seattle, the challenge that Terran Armstead faces in another brutally loud stadium. But for now, let's head back out to the home of the Space Needle and our own Sean Fazant.
When the Seahawks host the Saints on Saturday night, there will be several factors contributing to the outcome. But one thing that will not is the last time both teams met on December 2nd when Seattle dominated 34-7 on Monday Night Football.
It was like the first thing I addressed in our team meeting when we came back together was what has happened in the past doesn't tell the story what's going to happen in the future one way or the other.
We won the game in a pretty good way. We kind of clicked on all cylinders, and so this game right here, when you're playing the playoffs, when you're playing a team who's been known to score a lot of points and been known to do a lot of great things, and they have a great defense coordinator, they fly around, make a lot of plays. You have to go into this game, and it's a brand new situation.
Seattle knows they must be ready for the always explosive Saints offense led by Drew Brees. If their wild card win over Philadelphia was any indication, the Seahawks should also prepare for a Saints rushing attack as well.
When you look at their featured runners, they've really got some excellent running backs. And even though Pierre was not a part of that game, when you look through their whole body of work, there's some terrific guys, and so we know what their run game is and what it has been, all the way through the season from the past. So, we've got high regard for the way and especially the style of the runners they have. But they play with toughness and can finish their runs. So guys that certainly have our respect.
That's a very effective way to run their offense. It allows them to be balanced and create the play action fakes and allow their offense to become more explosive in that sense, and play action and then throw it over the linebackers, or bring guys up into the box and then throw it over their heads. That's good old school football.
On the other side of the ball, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense is gearing up for the creative mind of Saints defensive coordinator Rob Ryan and the 4th-ranked Saints defense.
Well, it's always a chess match, and I think that, obviously, Coach Rob Ryan is a tremendous coach. He does a lot of things, and he brings a lot of fire from all different directions. And so I think the thing is just being protected, making sure that you make the smart decision. Don't force anything if it's not there. Just salvage the play, throw it away, or run it and get a couple yards here or there, or hand it off to Marshawn.
The Seahawks will try to do something that's very hard to do in the NFL, beat the same team twice in a season. They tried and failed against the 49ers and Cardinals this year, but on Saturday, they feel confident they can go 2 for 2 against the black and gold.
It's tough. It's definitely tough in this league. I think it's definitely possible. Obviously, we've done it this year a couple of times, but we know it's going to be a good game. But we're confident. We're playing confident. We feel like we have an advantage, especially playing at home. And all we need to do, I keep saying, all we need to do is just do what we've been doing this whole season.
Saturday will be the 4th time the Saints have played here at the Link under Sean Payton. Their record in their previous 3 games is 1-2.
So listen, Sean, the Saints lost 34-7 the last time these two teams got together, but there's no way the Seahawks are 27 points better than the Saints, in my opinion. What happened to the Saints back on December 2nd?
Well, I really believe the Saints were a little overwhelmed by the atmosphere early. All of a sudden, they were down 17-0. It was the perfect formula for a disaster, pretty similar to what the Saints do to their opponents inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. So a little overwhelmed, but not nearly as bad as that 27-point outcome would lead you to feel. But I can tell you here in Seattle, the buzz all week is disregard the outcome of last game. This game will be much different.
That being said, Sean, what do the Saints have to do to pull off the upset in Seattle? And most people think it would be an upset.
Well, I think the first thing they have to do is win the 3rd down battle. The talk all week is that is the one Achilles heel for this Seattle Seahawks offense. They do not convert 3rd downs. If the Saints can stay on the field on 3rd down on offense and get off the field on 3rd down on defense, they will have a chance to win the game. And the other thing is, just like we said, avoid the slow start. You don't necessarily have to come out and take a lead by 20 points, but just don't fall behind 17-0. Once that happens, the crowd gets involved, it becomes very difficult to overcome the atmosphere. So avoid the slow start. Don't necessarily have to come out to a big lead in third. Drew Brees has to play great. But as we saw last week, sometimes playing great is managing the game, manage the situation, be the master of situational football, convert third downs, run when you have to, take the punt when you have to. Drew Brees has to avoid the big mistake for the Saints to have a chance.
All right, Sean Fazan in Seattle, thank you very much. Still to come, hear what the Saints have to say about a rematch against the Seahawks. And later, Sean is back with us for a look at the noise factor from the proud 12th man in Seattle.
You're watching Saints Game Plan.
Saints quarterback Drew Brees said it after the regular season game in Seattle. He said the road to the Super Bowl is likely going to wind back through the Emerald City. And boy, was he right. The Seahawks are a rested team after a bye week and a solid team in all phases of the game. And the Saints have to be prepared for what should truly be a battle by Puget Sound. The Seahawks are the favorites to win, not only this Saturday's game, but to run the table to and through the Super Bowl. And there are good reasons for that. They have home field until and if they reach the Super Bowl. The crowd is helpful to them, of course, but what they do on the field is what counts.
If we're playing a real good football team, we're playing a team that's won a bunch of games, a very balanced team on offense, and the number one defense in the NFL. I mean, you pick the category, and takeaways number one, pass defense number one, scoring, it goes down the line. So that's the biggest challenge.
Ironically, one of the biggest challenges facing the Saints offense is how their defense performs against the Seahawks. If Marshawn Lynch gets it going early, it allows Seattle to control the clock. The more Seattle has the ball, the fewer opportunities Drew Brees and the Saints offense have to operate. The Saints are ranked 16th in the league against the run, but all that does is motivate the black and gold players on the defensive side of the ball.
You're going against who people are saying the best team in the NFC is in their place, and that's a big challenge. And, I'm always up. I'm a competitor, so I look forward to a game like this.
But without question, job one for the Saints defense is to try and contain quarterback Russell Wilson. This young man has a grand total of 1 home loss 2 years into his professional career. And he has the Saints' respect.
The challenge of defending someone who's won as many games as he has, statistically in his first 2 years of playing quarterback, he's won more football games than anyone in this era since the Super Bowl began. So he's doing a lot of things well. He's a great decision maker. He's a great leader. He's accurate, and then he can escape and extend plays and hurt you from both the pocket and outside the pocket.
The Saints have several factors working in their favor. It's hard to beat a team twice in a season, for one. And the motivation of losing 34-7 in arguably their worst performance of the season in this same stadium to this same team just 5 weeks ago.
Obviously, that was not a very good performance by us. I felt like they played very well. A lot of credit to them. But we just knowing that, hey, listen, we got to get better, and the road through the playoffs to the Super Bowl looks like it's going to go through that place. So if we want to accomplish what we've set out to accomplish this year, then we better find a way to go there and win. And just hoping that we'd have another opportunity, and here we are having that opportunity.
Rejoined now by Saints Hall of Famer Deuce McAllister. And Deuce, let's talk about the Seahawks offense, which is prolific. Mm-hmm. What's the first step in stopping these guys?
Have to stop the run. You have to stop Marshawn Lynch. You can't allow him to control the tempo of the game, and you can't allow him to just be a factor where now the play action is so, dangerous for him. They're going to take shots. They've always taken shots, with Coach Carroll. Russell Wilson played probably one of his top 4 or 5 games a couple weeks ago when he played us. Now you want to make sure that you don't let him get on the edge. We didn't do a great job the first game that we played him. You let Russell get on the edge, and now he can run or pass, and you don't want to let him dictate that part of the game. But probably one of the most important things is stopping the run.
And about the seemingly impenetrable defense, they are great. They got a great front seven. How do you deal with that if you're Drew Brees with the noise and all that other kind of stuff?
You've got to attack them, straightforward. I think with a fast defense like they do have, I think that you have to attack them vertically. One key for us is to being able to get Jimmy involved in this game, and being able to get Darren involved in this game. They did a great job of using KJ Wright and Cam Chancellor. Both of those guys, KJ is out, Cam is probably a little banged up. The safety. So they did a great job of defending Jimmy. We've got to make sure that we get him involved in the game, and it's going to be imperative that Lance steps up. Colson is going to have to step up. You can't let that secondary dictate us not being able to throw the ball. Whether it's deep or intermediate, we have to be able to protect Drew one and be able to get the ball downfield, because when you're attacking that defense, they're a fast defense, so you can do some misdirection stuff against them, but you really have to attack them, straightforward.
Well, he's a guy who would know. Deuce McAllister, hang with us. It's still to come of the Saints game plan. The 12th man was in full effect the last two times the Saints were in Seattle. See just how the crowd fuels the Seahawks. And later, Mark Ingram carried the load last week and is averaging nearly 5 yards a carry this season. See how the former first-round pick has realized its potential somewhat this season.
You're watching Saints Game Plan.
I really don't have to tell you the Saints have one of the best, most loyal, most vocal fan bases in all the nation. The Mercedes-Benz Superdome is a place noted for short-circuiting visiting signal callers and their offenses. But the folks in Seattle are very proud of their loud crowd as well. It's a group known as the 12th Man, recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the loudest ever. So let's go back out to Seattle for more on that story from Sean Fazand.
Think CenturyLink Field, think home field advantage with the 12th man and noise. Lots and lots of noise.
It's deafening. They do a great job. Their fans are educated. They understand, when to be real loud and when to quiet down. But the way the stadium's structured, it just, the noise stays in, and we've experienced it a handful of times now, and you just try to simulate it as best you can.
And for the Saints, that meant bringing in extra speakers and even painting the Seattle Seahawks logo on their practice field this week.
We're just trying to create the exact environment, crowd noise, field, everything.
But Drew Brees says there is one simple way to overcome an electric atmosphere.
Score points.
Is that easy? You think that would take them out, seriously?
You make plays, you score points, you get enough of a lead. Yeah, that's how you take the crowd out of the game.
The last time the Saints were here, many of the players wore earplugs. Some said it helped with the noise, but that's about it.
I think it helps you focus more than anything. It's still very loud there. It's still not super easy to hear. But yeah, the earpieces are nice, kind of help you concentrate a little bit, and yet what do the earpieces really do? I mean, it makes it a little bit clearer in your head, I guess, but didn't help us a ton.
Look, I don't know how much worked well the last time, so I think that it helps with regards to the constant noise, but we'll kind of see how we approach this one.
In Seattle, I'm Sean Fazand with Fox 8 Sports.
Sean, thank you very much. We're joined now by the man who quieted some crowds back in the day, of course, including the ones at Seahawks Stadium, which is what they used to call that joint out there, former Saints running back Deuce McAllister. The noise, a big factor, especially for the offensive line. They've got to be able to figure this out. Terron Armstead, left tackle, new installation. How is it important for him to be able to handle this?
Well, that's where you have to start fast, and that's where you have to have some balance offensively. You don't want to be in situations where it's second and long. You don't want to be in third and long. So you have to have some positive yardage on first down. At least pick up 3, 4, 5 yards first down. That way it gives you some balance, and then you have to kind of start fast, because if you have the ability to take that crowd out of the game, where they're not as loud offensively when we have the ball, then, it's a positive for us.
Deuce, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you coming by. It's always a pleasure.
No problem.
All right. Coming up on the Saints game plan, Mark Ingram was the star of the show in Philadelphia last week and figures to be crucial to the Saints' postseason success. We spotlight the third-year back's breakout campaign.
You're watching Saints Game Plan.
Mark Ingram won the Heisman Trophy at Alabama and was then drafted by the Saints with the 28th pick overall in the first round. He was the first running back taken in that draft, and the Saints have been waiting for him to arrive all this time. Here's Garland Gillen to tell us that Ingram, just recently and just in time, may be turning the corner.
In his playoff debut, Mark Ingram showed off his fierce running game that got him a Heisman at Alabama. The former first-round pick ran all over the Eagles for 97 yards, including a 4-yard touchdown run.
Breeze handing it off to Ingram. Ingram up the middle, fighting his way to the goal line with second effort and some help. He's in for the score.
Ingram knew he had this kind of performance in him. He was just waiting for his shot.
Well, I've always been confident in myself. I know what I could do. I know, I'm confident in my abilities. Just matter of fact, it's just having the opportunity to get those touches and, show what I could do. And, it was great to do it in a playoff game on the road. Get that first win in franchise history. We just got to keep building on it.
He's been running real well. I liked his ball security the other night, and those weren't always easy yards, but I'm pleased with how he's playing, and I think, he's had a handful of games now towards the latter part of the season where he's been exceptional.
Ingram missed significant time this season with a toe injury, but his teammates say number 22 always kept upbeat and never changed his demeanor.
He's getting a better opportunity. We're getting him to the second level better. So, a lot of that gets dumped on Mark, and yet, it's not on Mark. It's a offensive effort. I think that he was able to get into a rhythm, got a bunch of carries in the Philly game more than he's used to kind of feel out what a defense is doing, how he can attack them.
The Saints totaled 185 yards on the ground thanks to Ingram and rookie Kyrie Robinson's 45 yards. A dominating effort that can carry an entire team.
I think whenever you can win a game and win it in the 4-minute and close out a game rushing the football the way we were able to, that there's a lot that's kind of permeates through your team, not just the linemen and the running backs. That carries over to your defense, etc.
Ingram was on the 2011 team. That was his rookie season, but he was not on the playoff roster due to a turf toe injury. From Saints Camp, Garland Gillen, Saints Game Plan.
Game day on Fox 8. We've got our tailgate show from 12:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon. We're all fired up for that. Fox's national coverage leading up to kickoff on our air, and then we'll be back with post-game coverage. So you can keep it on Fox 8 all day long. Thanks so much for watching the Saints Game Plan, and thanks to everyone at Fox 8 for their contributions. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and check out fox8live.com for more coverage of the black and gold.
This has been Saints Game Plan. Fox 8 is proudly locally owned.